Okay, hey everyone, it's the archetypical outcast here again, and yes, looking to make my second video, and coming at you quick and fast after the introductory video, and looking to seize the day and seize the momentum. So, reflecting on my introductory video, uh, there's still quite a lot of things that I left out, but not a bad start. Not a bad start. Not a bad start after procrastinating after such a long time to get it done. I didn't really even edit it. I was just like, hey, it's pretty free flowing, pretty freewheeling. I think that's going to be my style, and so as much as possible, I'm going to try to just um, keep it very kind of direct, and I don't think I will be doing a lot of editing. Hopefully, because that's a lot of labor. But right now, I want to introduce you to one of the I hope will be one of the staples of my channel, which is the weekly vlog. So every week, I'm going to come up with a vlog where I'm summarizing a lot of the things that happened during the week, and so giving you my thoughts about it. And I think it's gonna be a fun idea, where essentially just telling you what happened during the week and recounting that and giving you a little bit of some context and some and hopefully we'll have some discussion points, and I think we will have some discussion points going to starting with this weekly vlog. So first off, we start off with the start of last week. So I've been feeling quite demotivated at work. So just a bit of context. I took on a role. I work most of my. I'm in accounting. I'm an accountant. Most of my experience is in public accounting. I worked in public accounting for about 5 years. 3 years abroad and two in Canada. So most of my experiences with like the smaller CPA firms in Canada, and I can tell you, I hated that experience. It's so toxic. It's so just very unrealistic expectations. You never have enough work. So you never have enough billable hours. It's always such a strain on you. So you spend more time wasting, your time trying to like figure out your timesheet and the practice management, as opposed to actually like spending time on your clients, which is generally speaking not a problem. Of course, with the smaller firms, there's a lot. They have to accept a lot of messier clients because again, that's part of their value proposition, is essentially, well, we're going to give you a level of service that bigger firms are not going to provide you. And many times bigger firms are just going to be like, this too much work, right? We're not it's not the juice is not worth the squeeze as such. So that's when a lot of these clients are going to go more towards the smaller firms. And the smaller firms are not really in a position to say no, right? Because they gotta take whatever they can get. So I was doing that for a while. Was not happy with it. You know, um, I was really looking for something else like to make the jump to industry for a while. Uh, Last year, so kind of like late last year, quarter four, I get the opportunity to start this job, which has been great, and really I've been very happy. It's given me. I was feeling very down about accounting, and then until I started this position, and I was like, okay, that there are companies that have a decent work environment, and you can have a good relationship with your manager and your peers, and it's not all just overwhelmingly negative and toxic. And so I've appreciated it. I got some professional development stuff done that related to the CPA. So very happy with that, because I managed to become a member of my other designation, the ACCA, and use that to access the ITA route for the CPA, where I bypass all the prerequisites and all of that. So that's been great. And but so all of that has been fantastic. I'm very happy about it. Um, so I've built like a year of experience in industry, did all those professional development stuff, and now, but I took a big pay cut in order to take the job, and so now I'm like, it's been a strain, honestly, especially living in Toronto and how expensive life is here. When you're like when you take a big pay cut in order to take on a job, it's tough. It's tough. You start feeling it after a while, and I'm feeling it now, and I'm just like, I just want to get paid a decent wage. A lot of, and because of kind of a lot of the macroeconomic and government policies, I would say, and of course, like the wider context of like economic stagnation, Canada is not doing as well as it used to be. So there's less jobs and there's a lot more people because of population increases, and it's becoming tougher. You know, the labor market as a result has a lot of new entrants, and at the same time, not as many jobs. So that is depressing wages. It is what it is. I don't want to go too much into the politics or my views on that, but yeah, it's tough. So I'm in the job. So to summarize, I'm looking for a new job. The market sucks, and it's been tough, and it's having the knock-on effect of I've been a bit demotivated at work, where I'm like, I just don't care because I want to leave. So, but I'm trying to make the best of it, and of course, you got to be professional. You got to get your work done, but that's really been something I've been struggling with for a while. And last week was also one of those weeks where that's what was happening. Yeah. So apart from that, what else went down last week? Well, I met a friend, so I usually go see him. I usually go hang out with him at his place. We hang out. Over the years, we've become pretty good friends, and I really value his friendship. He's a great friend. He's someone who's like really like we have great conversation, and I really enjoy like his company, and I think vice versa as well. But I'm mentioning this because I've kind of gone through this time in my life where like I was trying to like meet a lot of people, and it's very normal when you move to a new country, a new city. There's a part of you that's really like very motivated to go out and meet people and build connections and build a social circle, and but I've also kind of, after let's say about a 5 year cycle, I've come to the point where I have like a handful of friends who I see, on a pretty regular basis, and that's enough for me. I don't need to have this massive group of friends, because many times it's just quantity over quality, and you're doing all of these things. You're running around trying to service all of these friendships, but in the end, it's just not worth it, right? Because they're not good friends. It's very surface level. It's very superficial, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it, and you end up wasting your time doing that instead of focusing on yourself and doing things that will actually bring value to your life. So I've been on this kind of downward trajectory with it when it comes to friends. Just being very realistic about who's a good friend and who's not a good friend, and who I'm going to spend time kind of nurturing that friendship or not. I'm mentioning this because recently I've gone through some upheavals with some friends, and they really center on how like, and so as a product of that upheaval, I've cut out a lot of friends because I didn't like the way that they were behaving, and I think I've been reflecting on it for a while, and what the issue was, and why now I understand why a lot of people don't keep their friend groups kind of separate. because of the issues that arise when you start mixing your friend groups and introducing other people. I now understand because I've gone through it, and I think at the crux of the matter for me is this idea of like you can hang out with someone, okay, you can be friends with someone for years, and you have an idea of them in your head. Okay, this is this person, this is how this person is, this is their character, this is their personality, and you accept them for who they are, and you're like, okay, this is who you are, that's fine, we get along, right? But what I'm realizing is that you can know someone for several years, like a long time, and you know them as something because the situation is stable, right? You do maybe the same thing, you have a certain routine when you hang out, but the moment like another variable enters the equation, all of a sudden you see another side of them, and they can act in a very, very different way, in a way that is completely runs contrary to the way that you know the person. And that's happened to me recently with several people, and I'm like, oh, this is making me really uncomfortable. Like I don't like. It's like I don't know who this person is, and I feel like, oh, you're all of a sudden you're kind of like a completely different person. And so I'm running into this continuously, and it's something that I'm starting to become very wary about. And circling back to why I mentioned my friend that I went to meet, is that so he's always been very cool, very chill, very easygoing. I mentioned to him recently that I know a girl, not very. So he's a guy, and I told him that, hey, I know a girl who lives very close to him, like very close to him, like I'm not even a minute's walk away, right? Like just a couple, basically on the other side of the street, right? So very close. And I said to him, hey, it'd be nice if you like. I'll see if I can like make an introduction or something. And he was like, yeah, that would be great. And then all of a sudden, so I mentioned this previously, like a few weeks back, and then when I met him the last week, I was kind of like, sending some photos of us hanging out in his common area and stuff, and I was seeing what she was up to, and then she was like, hey, you're in the neighborhood, you should come by, like why don't you come by and say hi? I'm like, sure, that'd be great. And so when I mentioned that to my friend, he was like, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Hey, should I get my jacket and all this? Let's go see her. I'm like, buddy, like, no. No, we're not doing it this way. I think the invitation is for me to go see her, right? I'm not bringing a random dude that she's never met to her place. That's not how it works, right? Like, people in general, but especially women, are a little bit. They want to be able to regulate who knows where they live for very good reasons. All right, obviously for obvious. I don't have to go into the details. Obviously, like it's a question of safety. Even as a guy, like I don't want every person knowing where I live. Even friends of friends and stuff. It's like, if you need to know, you need to know. But if you need to know, I'll tell you, right? I don't need other people telling people where I live. So he was acting kind of like upset about that and stuff, and he was like trying to, well, why don't you tell her to come over to my place? And I'm like, well, we had just ordered food, so I was like, hey, why don't you can tell her to come in? And I'm like, listen, relax. I'm not gonna invite her to your place. It just doesn't make sense, right? Even and I'm kind of getting to know her. I don't know her very well, right? So I'm have to see what her comfort level is with me first before we talk about you, So, and I was just seeing another side to him, like, we're going back to what I was talking about, like he was just acting in a really thirsty way, and I was just like, I don't know if this makes me feel uncomfortable. This makes me feel like I'm dealing with someone who's completely different from the person that I've known for years. So I just said, hey, in the end, I was like, I'm gonna go see her. I'll see if I can figure out something else, in order, like, most likely, like, just, hey, we're going out for a drink. Why don't you come join us? With her permission, and something like that. Something like very more like neutral, right? Um, yeah, and I also referenced the fact that I had previous issues recently with other friends, and I'm introducing them to other people, and he made a bit of a face, and I was just like, it's okay, but you know, this is how I feel, and I'm gonna stand my ground. Like, I'm not going to do something where I feel uncomfortable about the situation, or I feel like I have to force the situation. No, I'm gonna do things the way I want to do things. This is someone that I know. I'm gonna do it my way, and he respected that in the end. And then at the end, he was like, "Hey, I'm not being thirsty." I'm like, "Well, yes, you are." I mean, my internal monologue. I didn't say that to him, obviously, but I was like, "Yeah," my internal monologue. You are being a little bit thirsty. But you know what? It's just one of those things. Like, managing people is sometimes really exhausting, and you got to be careful. You got to be careful with, especially when you're introducing, some people to other people. It's sometimes it's a minefield, and I completely, people who just want to sidestep that completely and be like, nope, I'm not doing that. I know you. This is one group. This is one group. You're gonna stay this group. I know another group. That's great. You're gonna stay that group. We're not mixing. We're not merging. We're not doing any of that stuff. Totally respect that, and I think that's my policy from now on. If I'm being very honest, given the unsavory incidents that I've been dealing with recently. So yeah, I mean, that was another aspect that I just thought was very interesting, and it's also just caused me to be like a little bit more like introverted. Like, I don't want to deal with people being weird and stuff, and I don't know. It's kind of put me off. So the other thing that I did was, my friend wanted to go to a dating event on Thursday, so we went. It was very interesting. Um, I, I, I've been trying to push myself to be more outgoing and to do more approaches in public. With people, like, kind of the cold approach method. It's tough, man. It's tough, and in the moment, like, it's just, I'm very much a naturally shy person. I'm pretty introverted, and I'm not good at small talk. So it's tough. It's tough if you're like a person like myself, and you're sick of the apps. It doesn't work for you. When you're doing that, it's tough to make it work, because you're like, it's like my personality does not match this method of meeting people, and so, like, you gotta kind of work on yourself, and you gotta, like, acquire these skills, and it can be done, but at the same time, it's something that takes time and effort and perseverance, and as opposed to other people who are like just naturally extroverted and just can, like, make conversation with people and just talk about nothing, or, like, make small talk. I'm not that person, and it's been a struggle. um so I tried to talk to one girl, not because I was that interested in the person, but just because I was just trying to get myself into it. Didn't go really that well, and I just felt I was very super awkward with conversation as well. So I was just like, after that, I was like, I'm not feeling it. Um, but I think the most interesting thing that came out of that event was I was on the couch, and I was sitting. So it's a big area, upstairs and downstairs, and I'm just sitting, and I'm observing and all that, and I have my friend next to me, and he turns to me and he says, how these girls, how many of them are speaking to someone that they have no interest in? And I said to myself, wow, that's quite an insight. And I think, and I was just like, yeah, I think the number one problem with these dating events is, like, you're gonna spend so much time as a girl speaking to a guy who you have no interest in romantically, but you're talking to them because you're in this context, and it would be rude to be evasive, or not to engage them, right? And so you're kind of stuck in this situation where you're like, yeah, you're making conversation and all that, and it's nice to get that attention, but like, if you're going there with a specific goal of trying to meet someone who could be a romantic prospect for you, it must be frustrating because you're like, I'm talking. This guy's talking to me for an hour, and I'm not interested in this person. How frustrating would that be? Now, as a guy, it's frustrating in the other direction, right? Uh, it's like, well, God, you gotta summon the courage to go and talk to a person, not knowing if they want to talk to you or not, and you try to read signs and stuff, but it's hard. I've tried doing it and I've gotten it wrong many times, and it shouldn't discourage you from continuing, but you have that was I think that was it a little bit in the back of my mind as I was navigating the event. I was like, even though I thought I was getting some eye contact, I was like, well, this could be wrong because I've been wrong before, unfortunately. But yeah, so it was a really interesting, like, for me, it's like a social experiment. Um, and yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but yeah, not very successful, not very fruitful, not very productive. But I think if I were to do it again, I would have to try to put myself out there a bit more, and that is always challenging. The last thing I want to say about the dating event, well, the penultimate thing I will say about the dating event is I saw a guy. So we were kind of like towards the the kind of far end of the second floor, and he was just I just noticed him. He was there. He was just sitting by himself as he's just taking a beat, and this very pretty girl just walks over to him and sits down and starts talking to him. Now, I don't know if they were talking previously, so there was already a pre-existing kind of like connection there, like he had approached her or vice versa before. I didn't notice that. I just noticed her making this very conscious effort to come to him and talk to him and sit down and talk to him. And they sat down and they were talking, and I just thought to myself, this is amazing. Here is this girl who has the confidence to be like, hey, this is the guy that I'm interested in, and I'm going to just make it easy for you and just go and sit down and talk to the guy. And what an amazing thing! What an amazing thing to have to just take that initiative, right? So many times we talk about how like guys have to make the effort, and I respect that. And as a guy, like, it's just hard to dodge that. Like, it is kind of the societal expectation is for us to be the ones to go get it, right? So and a lot of us, such as myself included, we're struggling under the pressure of that because it's not easy. It's not easy to make an approach and then get rejected and all of that. It's tough. Some people deal with it better than others. But isn't it great when we have like we can subvert the expectation in order to get what we want, right? This girl was probably a very pretty girl, must have been like subject to a lot of approaches by guys at the event that she wasn't interested in. And what she does is she kind of goes and sees the guy that she wants to talk to, and she doubles down on doing that, right? And that's amazing. That's amazing. And I was just like, hats off to this lady for like making it easy for and just kind of facilitating like a budding connection with someone, right? So I just wanted to give a hats off to that girl. And also, what a mess, what a mess. So it was at a place, and for some reason, so the mess I'm referring to is on the way out we were going to code check, and what a mess, what a goddamn mess. It was a huge lineup, and I don't know, it was moving so slowly, and then for some reason the front door was open, and it was cold. It was cold, and so this cold draft is like flowing through. We're waiting there for like what must have been at least an hour, and I was just like, this is so badly designed. This is so badly designed. And I just think like it's a fancy place. I'm not gonna mention the name of the place, you know, to save their blushes, but what? And this is like King Street. This is a big joint. You would expect that they would have a much better way of dealing with things than that, and they didn't. And it was just night, like, because you're freezing, right? Like as you get closer, so the coat check is close to the door, and so as you get close to the door, you're getting more of that cold draft, and you're like, oh my god, like, you know, the what what would be good in this situation, your jacket, your winter jacket. That's what you need right now, and that's the one thing you don't have. So that was frustrating. But yeah, I mean the weekend was very quiet as a result. I've been moving towards quieter weekends. It's still a struggle because I still feel a certain type of way, like staying in on a Saturday night, which is what I ended up doing. But ultimately, it was fine. It's just it's okay. Like it's conditioning yourself not to feel like you need to go out every weekend. Friday night, I a few of my friends and I we went to the pool. So we have like a pool room. It's actually very nice. I didn't even know that you could book it until recently. I was like, hey, we should do this. So I booked it. It was really nice. It was fun. Um, but it's always a little bit of a. So you can only book it for an hour, and it's always a little bit of a. I don't know, like a stretch. Like an hour goes by so quickly. Like at least half an hour, we were just like, so we hadn't eaten yet. So we were like, he was having dinner, I was having a snack. We were just talking, and so an hour goes by so quickly. That took just half an hour for us to just like have dinner, and then yeah, like you got half an hour to like just play some pool. So it was not easy. We booked it from like 8 to 9, but no one else came in. So that means no one booked it from 9 to 10. 10 is like the cutoff. So we just stayed. But like it's always awkward because there's a bit of a, the concierge is gonna call you. Hey, your thing is up and your time is up, and you gotta vacate and all that. And if I think the least that I can do is like, my philosophy is if someone comes in, we'll leave immediately, right? But if someone is not coming in, why not just stay a bit longer? Like no one else is using the table or the area. So like yeah, we stayed like a little bit longer, and then the guy came in and saw us, and I was like, oh, I was apologetic, and then he's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. I think he was like heating up some of his food that he left in the fridge. And he just said, listen, yeah, no worries. You can have it for the next until 10 because no one else has booked it for the hour after. I was like, great. But we ended up staying a little bit longer because my friend came over a bit late. So we stayed until 11. But the guy called and I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, he's like, hey, it's 11. It'd be good if you guys could leave right now. And I'm like, no problems. We're already over an hour. Fair enough. But my friend was kind of made some weird comment. He was like, "Oh, you don't have to like be so like deferential or whatever." I'm like, and yeah, you don't have to act like that. Like, just be like, just like, don't give a fuck or whatever. I'm like, and I was just like, no, like, listen, like, if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do, I'm gonna be apologetic about it. I'm not gonna be an asshole. Be like, fuck you. Like, no, I'm just gonna be like, hey. I'm going to be apologetic and be like, hey, sorry. If I know that I'm pushing a boundary here, the least I can do with the person who has to like regulate that is be a little bit apologetic and not be confrontational, right? And so I don't know. I didn't like that. Like we had a great night other than that, but he was being. I didn't like that because he was like kind of like challenging me on this, and and I just thought to myself as I was reflecting on it later on, I was just like, bro, like if you want to be a tough guy, go be a tough guy in your building. Go be a tough guy in your house. Don't don't come to my building as a guest and start acting like a tough guy. You don't have anything to lose in this situation. You don't live here, right? So please don't be that person. If anyone's watching this, please don't be that person. Like, if you're over at someone else's building, be cool, and realize that the person who's building your or common area or whatever that you're hanging out in is the one that has potentially something to lose, right? Like, if I don't respect the terms of the reservation or the booking, I could be barred from booking again, right? And that would be fair, because they'd be like, listen, this you didn't respect the terms of it, of the booking, so we're barring you from booking for whatever period of time or whatever. That's fair. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be able to argue about that, because we went over. But so just be cool, guys. Don't do stuff like that. It was really dumb. I was just like, yeah, like, don't be a tough guy in my building, man. What's wrong with you? Like, it was just a bit strange. But yeah, it's been pretty quiet. So Sunday morning, I did do my introductory video, and now I'm doing my second video already. You see, things are moving, and yeah. So it's been, I think, a productive week, but a lot of interesting insights as well. On that note, I've probably gone much longer than I should have, and hopefully I don't have to edit it. But yeah, this is the first weekly vlog. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope someone sees it. I don't even know if anyone's going to watch this. But if you do, it would be great if you could like and subscribe. Fair enough? Fair enough. All right. Take care. See you in the next one.